Good evening, peeps, and welcome to what might be the most improvised episode of Speedpaint, just the most improvised Speedpaint I have ever made. Because I'm running a bit low on recording time, but I really wanted to get a Speedpaint done today, because otherwise I'm just gonna be uploading a lot of Oxenfree, and that's just gonna be like 4 episodes in a row, and I don't want that. I want some variety, so I'm making another Speedpaint, one that I've already uploaded like 2 days ago. It doesn't matter. I want to get more drawing, and I just finished Oxenfree, by the way, today during this recording session. I think that was a great game. Absolutely great game. I think it had a good story. Could have been a little heavier on the ghost part, like the send off on that. I didn't really get what happened to the ghosts in the end, but if you don't get what I'm talking about, go play Oxenfree or watch someone play it or something. You can watch me play it if you want. But the reason I'm calling this the most improvised speed paint is because I am very low on recording time. I wanted to record some more before I gotta get out of the house, so I'm recording the speed paint, and also because I don't really know any topic to talk about. I mostly just wanted to do. All I know is that I wanted to do some fan art for Oxenfree, which I just finished. And then I thought, you know what? Why not just talk a bit about story games? I just made that one-shot review, which is that is one of my proudest videos. I didn't even put, I put decent effort in. I put quite a lot of effort into it, considering it's just an edited video. It's not an animation or anything. Not that because I used to do these, I don't think I'm gonna do them that much anymore. I used to do these videos where I made sort of like my own character. You might have seen them where I just put my character where I talked over games and stuff. That took so long. That took like 2 days to edit that. So I just decided, you know what? I'd rather want quantity instead of quality, so I did that. But that video really brought me back to like quality, making quality, and I was so happy about the way that video turned out. Just because I got my point across very well. I felt I didn't feel like anything was too confusing. I felt like I just wanted to share the gospel of one shot, because everyone's been praising Undertale for years now. Now the hype wave is kind of over now, but I feel like one shot could take up that role. Like, people could have a new thing to get excited. People could have a new thing to theorize about. People could have a new thing to talk about more. Which would be one. I don't get why that wouldn't be one shot, because I really thought that was a great story RPG, exactly what Undertale was. Undertale was, I will say, vastly superior in the gameplay department, because in one shot it was mostly just puzzles, and while you did run around on your desktop and stuff, looking for different clues and stuff, and that's all cool, then the gameplay in Undertale is much cooler. But then again, the gameplay of Undertale isn't exactly what people were most excited about. They mostly liked the characters, they mostly liked the story. That's the primary thing. Except people did love the difficulty of the genocide playthrough, but yeah, I don't know why people one shot was kind of skipped on that. Well, actually, that's wrong. I did see quite a few reasons why one shot didn't do quite as well as other games, but that's because, mostly because it released what I would call the best part of the game after its initial release, and people kind of forgot about it, and way too few people have played that good part. But anyways, story. That's not what I want to talk. I want to talk about story, and story in video games is one of the it's not crucial for a game to work for me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I cannot play a game without it being story good. Like Super Meat Boy, that has absolutely no story, but I really like that game. I Enter the Gungeon, same story. Same story. Haha, I get it. But it doesn't need a good story to be a good game. That's not what I'm saying. But if it wants to rank in my top 10 video games, it has to involve a good story or a good lore. Even Bloodborne is one of my favorite games of all time, and even though that's more gameplay compared to story, direct story, then there's deep lore in it, and that there's still a lot of stuff to look into, and you can figure out the story on your own. That's still why it's one of my favorite games of all time. So story for me, it's one of my personal favorites, I guess you could say. It's not crucial for a good game. It's just one of my personal favorites. Bloodborne, Pocket Mirror, actually, even though that's a horror game, that's also still one of my favorite RPG horror games ever. Or actually, I think I can call it my favorite RPG horror game. Remember, I did talk about that in a video before, like why RPG horror games aren't popular anymore, or something along those lines. The video was probably called. I can't remember for the for the good of me, but there I talked about how RPG horror games were kind of like a thing of the past. But Pocket Mirror was a really good RPG horror game, but it was kind of overlooked. And I played it, and I freaking loved it. Like, I even had another YouTube channel at one point where I played it, and I just loved that game, because while it was scary, but it was not the scariest game, then it still had that, like, subtle creepiness to it, and, like, you were reminded that it was horror, and it had some good points, but it had a really good, like, involving story too, and really good characters. I was even emotional during parts of the game, which I think is just great. So, Undertale is great in story too. Don't get me wrong. Undertale severely depressed me for like a couple of months. I couldn't play anything else. I just watched people play Undertale over and over again, like different YouTubers. Every time someone uploaded Undertale, I had to watch every playthrough to see their reactions to stuff. But if you like Undertale, try out One Shot. That game is also really good. It has some absolutely mind-blowing and emotional story that reminded me of Undertale. And if you like the more horror aspect, then I'd recommend you Pocket Mirror. It's a small title. It's free, actually. You can get it on Game Jolt for free. It has some great soundtracks and everything. I just think it's just what a beautiful thing, you know. I can really appreciate good story in video games. And it's not just story, you know, it's like writing in general. Like, I can appreciate good writing in characters. Because, like, the characters in Undertale were definitely, like, also one of my favorite parts. Like, how they were written, and how they were funny in each their own way, and how they're, like, I loved their characters so much. Like, that was the thing I loved about Night in the Woods, too. If you haven't played that, definitely play that, too. That, like, the atmosphere, the general art style and everything about that game was also beautiful. Soundtrack beautiful. Main story with the cult thing could be a little better. It didn't have as good an ending as I wanted it to have. It got a bit confusing around there, but the writing of the characters and like that was so good in that game. I just, now that I think about it, stories in games, like if a game has a good story, it's gonna make me. It gives me. Nothing gives me post-game video game depression better than a good story in a game. I don't think I've ever finished a gameplay-focused, weirdly enough since it's a game, but I don't think I've ever really played like a game like Super Meat Boy or anything that focuses that hard on the mechanics and then ever felt sad that it was over. But stories in video games, they get me really depressed because that's kind of like the thing. They drag you in. They introduce you to this whole other world, this whole other universe, and then when it's over, you just get thrown out, you get kicked right on your butt out of it, and you're just like, wait, no, that wasn't real, are you kidding me? Oh, I don't know where I'm going with this. I just wanted to take a moment and appreciate the games, even the smaller games, because a lot of really good, like, that's a thing that doesn't really require budget, if you think about it. Or, well, of course, everything about video games almost requires a budget to make it, unless you're completely making it for free, but, like, anyone can write good story, you know? That's also why we see such good story in smaller games, and that's also what I said in the one-shot video. That's one of the biggest advantages that the indie community has, you know? Like, just being able to drag you in a world with good writing. Like, anyone can do that. I guess that's all I want to say. Tribute to all the smaller games out there. Pocket Mirror, one-shot, games like these. I'm actually playing a game called Lie Eat right now. Which is also like a smaller game. I'm enjoying that quite a bit now. It's not one of the best stories, but just appreciate the smaller games, you know? Like, good story can be found anywhere, so don't rule anything out. Don't think that only the big games give a good story or anything. That's basically all I wanted to say. But anyways, I hope you appreciated the, I guess, Oxenfree fan art that I made, and hopefully it didn't turn out too ugly. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me rant for like 10 minutes. This actually went well. I did that without cutting too much in the audio, and I kind of like just went on a roll talking about story for 10 minutes. So, hey, thank you for listening in, and yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.